Ngayong Biyernes sa DOST Report, alamin ang iba't ibang research and development projects ng Department of Science and Technology na may hatid na makabagong programa, teknolohiya at inobasyon na nakapagbibigay ng magandang pagbabago sa ating buhay. At upang ibahagi sa atin how research and development make change happen, makasama natin sina Dr. Marieta Banez Sumagaysay, ang Executive Director ng National Research Council of the Philippines, Attorney Marian Ivy D. Decena, ang Director ng DOST Technology Application and Promotion Institute, at si Dr. Franz A. De Leon, ang Director ng DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute. Alamin yan at iba pang science for the people projects ng Department of Science and Technology mula mismo kay DOST Secretary Fortunato de la Peña. Pakanutukan natin yan sa DOST Report tuwing Biyernes alas 4 ng hapon sa DOST TV Facebook page at YouTube channel. Magandang agham Pilipinas! Ako po si Oling Miranda, ang inyong kapatid sa ipabawid. Alas 4 na ng hapon at oras na para sa mga nababanong balita at impormasyon tungkol sa agham, teknolohiya at inobasyon sa bansa. Ito ang DOST Report. At syempre hindi mabubuo ang programang ito kung hindi natin makakasama ang kalihim ng kagawaran ng agham at teknolohiya, ang nag-iisang DOST Secretary Fortunato de la Peña. Magandang araw po, Sec Boy.
Magandang araw, Onin, at magandang araw din sa ating mga taga-subaybay.
Sec Boy, usapang pagbabago po tayo. Mamaya, kasama po mga kritawan mula sa National Research Council of the Philippines, DOST Technology Application and Promotion Institute at DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute. Mga magagandang pagbabago po tulot ng research and development sa iba't ibang sektor ang ating pong pag-uusapan. Pero bago po lahat, aalamin muna natin ang mga updates tungkol sa agham at teknolohiya sa pamamagitan po ni Secretary Boy.
Gaya ng dati ay iulat ko ang mga accomplishments during the week sa pamamagitan ng ating apat na K, ang kalusugan, kabuhayan, kaayusan at kinabukasan. Mag-uumpisa ako sa kalusugan. Ang unang report ay galing sa ating DOST, Philippine Council for Health Research and Development or PCHRD. Ang kanilang report ay tungkol sa isinasagawang research to possibly identify possible allergenic airborne pollen in a research study in Ilocos Norte. This is supported by DOST PCHRD and is designed to identify the characteristics, seasonality, and allergenic properties of various airborne pollen in that area. Among the effects of climate change is the early flowering of plants, which causes extended periods of pollen production and airborne pollen dispersal. With this, communities are more exposed to pollen allergens, resulting in an increased risk of allergic respiratory diseases. So to address this problem, a 2-year study is being supported by DOST PCHRD, and this is led by Dr. Maureen Sabit of the University of Santo Tomas with a title, Seasonal Distribution of Allergenicity of Airborne Pollen in Ilocos Norte, which will generate crucial information about airborne pollen to educate the public on the possible causes and sources of pollen-related allergies and to serve as a guide in managing allergic diseases. Aside from the characterization of possible allergenic airborne pollen, the project also hopes to develop technologies that will forecast airborne pollen concentrations enabling accurate diagnosis and creation of preventive measures for pollen allergies. Currently, the research team has identified 92 plant species to be included in the study, which will be observed for a 3-month period for their flowering and fruiting cycles. The second report on kalusugan also comes from the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, or PCHRD. And this is just an update on the mix and match vaccine study. The status of the project as of December 28, 2021 for the 3 locations, namely Muntinlupa, Marikina, and Manila cities is as follows. Okay, 367 participants have been screened. 302 participants have already been enrolled. 302 were vaccinated with the first dose, while 33 have already received their second dose. But remember, our target here is 3,000 participants. Other locations being arranged are, at the moment, Davao City and Tansa, Cavite. Ito yung clinical trials where the first vaccine is Sinovac. The third report on kalusugan comes from our Food and Nutrition Research Institute, but this is really more of an announcement that they are having an ongoing survey on material nutrition status. So the DOST FNRI is currently undertaking a study, a project to study the maternal nutrition status and gestational weight gain in selected areas in the Philippines. So the DOST Food and Nutrition Research Institute is coordinating with local government units, city health offices, and municipal health offices, and all local midwives via email, phone calls, and SMS. Phone interviews with pregnant women have been coordinated and conducted as well. The next items are now relative. These are now the kabuhayan items. First one comes from the DOST Bicol region, or Region 5. They have conducted technology training on fruits and vegetable preservation in cooperation with the DepEd of Camarines Norte. They conducted a 2-day technology training, focus talaga sa fruits and vegetables preservation last December 21 and 22, 2021, participated by faculty members as well as DSWD 4P members. And these are coming from the Moreno Integrated School of Diet, Camarines Norte. There were 8 fruits and vegetables preservation technologies that were taught, and the jams and chips products will be produced by the Moreno Integrated School, okay, in their canteen. The next report comes from DOST region, still Region 5, and this is the small enterprise technology upgrading support that they are giving to the BNB Cosmetics and Hygiene Solutions Incorporated of Naga City. So the project proponent, named BNB Cosmetics and Hygiene Solutions Incorporated, is actually headed by Miss Cela Marie Cruz, and they have already signed an agreement, and the assistance of set up here is entitled Upgrading of Hygienic Solutions Processing. And this will enable BNB Cosmetics and Hygiene Solutions Incorporated to acquire equipment that will improve their production capacity, improve their quality of their products, and to grow the business. The company produces items like liquid soaps, okay, and sanitizers, lotions, okay, which have become very, very saleable during the pandemic. The next report is on the assistance also given by, this time by the DOST in Northern Mindanao or DOST Region 10. And this is also a small enterprise technology upgrading program assistance to a company called Morson's Home Industries. And this is in terms of assistance in sublimation printing and electric sewing. So the advanced printing and sewing technologies will significantly increase revenue of local bag makers by 70%. These are found in Iligan City. And it will also upgrade their production processes. It is estimated that the productivity or the production volume of customized garments and personalized gifts, as well as home decors using their technology, will increase by 30% sa first year pa lang ng operation or utilization of the equipment that will be acquired through the setup program. Now, still from Northern Mindanao, there is a particular indigenous food or indigenous steamed cake that is called binaki. And with the technology, with the DOST technology interventions, this has been upgraded into a product of export quality. So the famous indigenous food binaki, which is a steamed cake made of grated young corn that originated in Northern Mindanao, has gotten S&T upgrading after one of its biggest producers in Bukidnon, named Atugan's Nature Farm, availed of assistance from the Small Enterprise Technology Upgrading Program. So the assistance also included assistance in laboratory analysis, in microbial tests, in NutriPacks for their products, as well as the consultancy services that offers recommendations for the improvement of packaging, labeling, food safety, and other processes and workplace arrangements. The next is more on kaayusan, but it can also be on kabuhayan. And I am referring to the item that was developed by the DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute. DOST ITDI has recently come out with a halal assurance system manual. The DOST ITDI, through its food processing division, has developed a generic halal assurance system manual for selected food ingredients under a research project that was funded by DOST, Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technologies, R&D, or PSHIRD. The standardization of the processing method for selected food ingredients, specifically onion, garlic, black pepper, and chili, was conducted following the halal principles. Physicochemical analysis was performed for parameters like moisture, water activity, Scoville heat test, pH, and halalness, such as for sin detection. And based on the results of the study, the selected food ingredients were developed to comply with halal requirements. Of course, requirements, regulatory, and market standards. The prototype products of the chosen food ingredients were developed using the International Halal Accredited R&D facility of the Industrial Technology Development Institute. Halal Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points, or HACCP, were also designed for the selected food ingredients. And aside from the generic manual, a specific manual was also developed for all cooperators, okay, that will adopt this. The next is also coming from the DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute, or ITDI, and they have reported that they have developed an automated calibration software for what they call 6.5-digit multimeters. Calibration processes and procedures are often complex and time-consuming activities whose efficiency can be influenced by various factors. The operation of a successful calibration depends upon human factors such as the operator's capabilities, the design properties of the equipment, and the characteristics of the particular task and the associated environment. So to minimize the error sources brought about by human factors such as mistakes in manual entry of data, mistakes in setting the instruments, inconsistencies while performing the measurements, the DOST ITDI, through their electrical standard section under the National Metrology Laboratory of the Philippines, managed to perform automated calibration of 6.5-digit multimeters efficiently. A calibration software was developed for this automated 6.5-digit multimeter calibration using the Python open source programming software. The DOST and the Forest Products Research and Development Institute and the De La Salle College of St. Benilde are set to explore collaboration on research work on bamboo for culture-based arts. So the faculty members of De La Salle College St. Benilde recently visited the Bamboo Musical Instruments Processing Center and the Furniture Testing Laboratory of the DOST Forest Products Research and Development Institute to identify and explore the possible collaborative work that they will do together, particularly on the use of bamboo. And they have identified possible collaboration on the following. First, the integration of what they call aeolian tone, AEOLIAN, aeolian tone in architectural design of houses or buildings, which would benefit the visually impaired, was discussed. Aeolian is referred to as a classical musical tone produced by the passage of a current of air over a stretched string. Another one is the collaboration on the field of environment, arts, and culture, specifically on music production or sound design, and also industrial design for instrumentation. That was also identified. Okay, there is also the possibility where music is identified as a possible R&D area for partnership. The program on fine arts culture-based plans to add bamboo for culture-based arts in filmmaking was also discussed. The next one also comes from DOST ITDI, but this is actually a partnership with the University of the Philippines, Manila, which is currently hosting a Balik scientist to help in the DOST Mapua University collaboration on PhD by Research program. The DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute, or ITDI, is collaborating with the UP Manila Technology Transfer Business Development Office as the partner host in the engagement of Dr. Maria Cynthia Go under the Balik Scientist program of PCHRD. So Dr. Go is actually helping DOST Manila on their technology transfer and business development activities. And at the same time, she will be engaged in the DOST Mapua University collaboration on the PhD in Material Science and Engineering with a specialization on nanotechnology. And this is a PhD by research program. This is the very first PhD by research program where a DOST R&D Institute is a co-implementer. And we really hope to see additional PhD by research being co-implemented by our research and development institutes at DOST. The knowledge, skills, and extensive experience of Dr. Cynthia Go in advanced materials and nanotechnology will help execute the said PhD by research program. The activities of Dr. Go will include consultation on the development of a framework for the said PhD program, its lectures, seminars, and workshops, and also, of course, assistance to the DOST ITDI Nanotechnology Research Group to mentor on technology research development. And finally, the last item I would like to report is really para sa kasalukuyan at sa kinabukasan. Ito ay ang budget na ibinigay ng gobyerno sa DOST for 2022. under the newly approved GAA Act or Government Appropriations Act or GAA, DOST gets a budget for 2022 of 24.268 billion. Okay, this was signed last December 30, 2021, and this budget is actually lower by 919.8 million compared to our 2021 budget. 19% of the budget is allocated for personal services. 77% is for maintenance and operating expenses, and 4% is given for some capital expenditures, particularly on the acquisition of equipment and the continuation of some ongoing construction. Okay, but I don't think there are new infra approved. So the Office of the Secretary, and this is which includes the regional offices and provincial offices, actually had an increase of 176.58 million compared to 2021. And this increase is largely for the maintenance and operating expenses, okay? And there is an additional 10.44 million approved for personal services of specific offices, particularly the Central Office and Region 3. Among the 18 DOST attached agencies that received an increase in their budget are the following: the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, an increase of 55.77 million; the Technology Application and Promotion Institute, an increase of 51.81 million; the Philippine Textile Research Institute, an increase of 39.35 million; the National Research Council of the Philippines, an increase of 30.04 million; and PBOX with an increase of 16.568 million. The other attached agencies, 10 of them had lower budgets for 2022. We hope that this information would be useful to our audience. Okay, so yan po ang aming mai-report na accomplishment for the first week of January. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po, Sec Boy. Natungan po ninyo ang kabuuan ng DOST updates para sa nagdaang linggo. Sa amin pong pagbabalik, ating umpisahan ang panibagong serye ng panayam. At para sa buwan ng Enero, iikot ang ating usapan sa magandang pagbabago, hatid na pananaliksik, research and development, making change happen interview series. Sa pagbabalik po yan ng DOST Report. Pero bago yan, nais po namin paalalahan ang lahat na ngayon po ang huling araw ng National Time Consciousness Week, alinsunod sa RA 10535, ang Philippine Standard Time Act of 2013. Ang pagkilala natin sa Philippine Standard Time ay isang adhikain na nagbibigay halaga sa isang oras sa ating bansa at ang paggalang sa oras ng bawat isa tungo sa masaganang pamayanan. Kaya naman sabay-sabay po natin itamang ating orasan batay sa Philippine Standard Time. Paano? Panoorin po natin ito. Kayo po'y nakatutok sa DOST Report. Ika nga, bagong taon, bagong pag-asa. Kaya naman para sa unang buwan ng taong 2022, usapang pagbabago po tayo. Nakasentro sa isang temang ating mga panayam ngayong Enero. Ito ang R&D Making Change Happen. Sa susunod na 4 na linggo ating titignan ang nakaraan, ang kasalukuyan, at ang hinaharap upang mas makita natin kung ano bang pagbabago ang naidulot ng iba't ibang researchers and development programs ng DOST.
Tama ka, Onin. Magandang araw muli sa ating mga taga-subaybay. Ngayon ay matutunghayan na natin ang ating mga bisita para sa ating interview portion ngayong first week of January. Nais kong ipaalam sa ating mga taga-subaybay na sa buong buwan ng Enero, sa mga Biyernes na mga darating ay puro mga pinuno ng ating mga research and development agencies at science and technology service institutes ang ating makakapanayam at gaya nga ng sabi mo ay nakatuon ito dun sa science, making change happen. And siguro idudugtong ko lang na kasama na din dyan kung ano yung mga gagawin pagpaplano, kung paano natin masusuportahan ang na ma-meet yung ating tinatawag na Sustainable Development Goals. Alam naman natin at sumusuporta tayo dyan at meron tayong time frame up to 2030.
At para sa unang yugto ng ating interview series at pagbabagi sa atin, How R&D Making Change Happen, makasama natin sina Dr. Marieta Banyas Sumagaysay, Executive Director, National Research Council of the Philippines, Attorney Marian Ivy T. Decena, Director, UST Technology Application and Promotion Institute, at Dr. Franz A. De Leon, Director, UST Advanced Science and Technology Institute.
Simulan na natin. Ang una nating kakapanayamin ay ang Executive Director ng National Research Council of the Philippines. Walang iba kung hindi si Dr. Marieta or Mayet Sumagaysay. Magandang araw sa iyo, Dr. Mayet.
Happy New Year po, sir. And good day po sa lahat ng nanonood.
So, Mayet, looking back, ano ba ang mga big challenges ng ating lipunan o ng ating mga communities ang inyong hinarap at pinagtuunan ng pansin itong nakaraang 5 kalahating taon dito sa ating kasalukuyang administrasyon at siguro pwede mo ring mabanggit kung ano yung mga pinaplano pa para sa mga susunod na mga taon bilang suporta sa ating Sustainable Development Goals.
Salamat po, sir. Ano ko lang muna i-mention na yung sectors po na siniserve ng NRCP ay yung academic sector at saka yung policy makers ng gobyerno. Ang NRCP po sa kanyang mandato, kabilang dito yung Act 4120 ng 1933, sinasabi na sa NRCP ay isang collegial body ng mga researchers, mga scientists, mga artists, at ito siya ay isang advisory body sa gobyerno on issues of national interest. Kaya ang aming sector po na siniserve ay yung mga eskwelahan, yung academic sector, para doon sa collegial body natin na nature at saka yung mga policy makers para dito sa mandato natin ng advisory body po. So, ang naging challenges po natin sa past 5.5 and a half years po ay yung iba-iba po ang level ng competitiveness or readiness po ng ating mga SUCs and HEIs to do research. So habang pinapalawak po natin ang ating reach sa mga SUCs and HEIs throughout the country, nakita po natin na iba-iba ang pagkahanda nila to do quality research at saka yung kanilang capacity to be able to submit competitive proposals na the probability of funding ay mas mataas. So yung lumalabas po ay yung mga hindi pa masyado nasi-serve po natin ay hindi pa gaano ka-competitive nga yung mga proposals. So what are we doing dito sa NRCP? We do capacity building, lalo na ng ating mga bagong researchers at mga bagong institusyon na naaabot. Gumagawa din tayo, mayroon din tayong new funding windows for starters para magkaroon sila ng confidence to do research at saka maka-start sila ng kanilang track record to do research. At we also engaged RD leaders. Sir, ito po ay kasama po sa ating Science for Change program, yung RD leadership, and yung mga RD leaders po natin na nasa mga regions ay talagang nakakatulong po sila sa pagcapacitate ng ating mga faculty researchers. At saka yung DOST regional offices, nagpapasalamat po tayo kasi with them, natutulungan po tayo to reach to these new institutions. And meron po tayong mga regional clusters ng NRCP sa Visayas and Mindanao na nakakasama po natin dito sa pagcapacitate po ng ating researchers. So sa project implementation naman po, naging problema po natin yung procurement, especially during the pandemic. Alam po natin na hindi all the time meron na mga tao sa mga opisina, skeletal workforce. So doon po, madami po sa ating researchers ay nag-late start po, ano po sila, nag-request ng late start ng kanilang implementation ng projects. So yun po sir, sa part ng academe, sa part po naman ng policy makers na ating target sector, ang challenge po namin sa NRCP is how to promptly respond to demand-driven research areas. Kasi yung mga solons natin, yung mga policy makers, may mga bigla-biglang mga gustong ipalabas na mga polisiya, mga legislation, like for example on DRR, that need immediate science-based information. Kaya lang po, ang proseso natin ng proposal submission until may MOA signing ng researcher and all of those mukhang medyo a little matagal, although we're really currently doing our best na mapaiksi natin sa within 40 days or less yung ating pagproseso. And one more thing po sir, ay we do this by, para mapabilis, ay we do pre-engagement meetings po sa mga opisina ng ating mga mambabatas, sa mga LGUs, para early pa lang ma-identify na po natin yung possible priority legislations na kailangan po nila ng scientific evidence to support their policy making. So yun po sir, yung pangkalahatan po na challenges natin sa dalawang sektor na siniserve po ng NRCP.
Dr. Sumagaysay, paano po ninyo nabigyan ng solusyon ang mga suliraning ito o paano po nakapagatid na magandang pagbabagong NRCP sa pamamagitan ng mga research and development programs?
Kahit may mga challenges po tayo, as I mentioned earlier, may mga ginawa tayong mga strategies para masolusyonan po yung mga concerns na yon. And doon po sa academic sector, ang ginawa po natin ay more capacity building, as I mentioned earlier, more capacity building sa ating researchers. Meron tayong new funding windows for starters ng research, yung mga mag-uumpisa pa lang, such that they can come up with more competitive proposals. May RD lead program po tayo. At doon po naman sa policy makers na sector, ang ating pong ginawa ay early pre-engagement po sa mga ating mambabatas kung ano ang kanilang mga priority programs or priority legislative agenda which will need the scientific evidence. So, nakakagawa po tayo ng research earlier on. Now, yung anong nangyari dun sa mga ginawa nating strategies is we really found R&D making change happen in these two sectors. So, banggitin ko lang, doon po sa academic, in the past 5.5 years, nagkaroon po tayo ng mas madaming bagong researchers at bagong research institutions sa mga regions na napondohan po natin ng mga proyekto. Ito, bigyan ko kayo ng data. Ngayong nakalipas na 2021, we had 16 new researchers. In 2016, 5 years ago, meron tayong 2 lang na new researchers. So yung ganyan na paglaki ng ating naabot na mga bagong researchers is one big change natin sa R&D. And pangalawa, noong 2016, 2 lang yung new institutions na napondohan natin, pero ngayong 2021, 5 po na new institutions. So itong pagbabago ay maganda po, lalo na sa mga rehiyon natin, kasi ang ating mga researches ay many of them ay location specific ang kanilang mga ginagawang research na nakakatulong lalo na sa regional development at angkop na rin sa SDGs natin. So ito rin ay reflective ng initiatives natin for equitable distribution of R&D funds in the country. Kasi si NRCP, ang pinopondohan lang po natin, mga NRCP members. Ay yung NRCP membership natin, more than 50% galing Metro Manila. Pero sa last 5.5 years, we have enrolled many scientists and artists and researchers from the different regions. And another outcome dito onin is dumami yung publications and citations ng ating mga researchers. At yun ay nakakapaganda din sa kanilang professional growth. So may isa pa po, yung ibang mga associate members natin ng NRCP naging regular members. And to be a regular member, you should have a certain H index, a certain scientific productivity level. So, noong before 2017, it took 7.5 years to become a regular member on the average. Pero after 2018, with more of our interventions, R&D funds getting to the regions, it takes like only half of the time to become a regular member. So ito ay mga reflection ng pagbabago at ang tulong natin sa professional development. Pero doon naman sa sa mga LGUs and mga natin yung mga paggamit ng ating mga research results, R&D is making change happen. One example is mga new discoveries natin. Isang pioneering result dito ng isang study, marine sediment-derived actinobacteria compounds, which is expected to produce commercially available treatment against multi-drug resistant diseases, cancer, and similar others. Pero matagal pa po yun. What I'm saying is, na-discover siya ngayon. So, it all starts with basic research. So, ito po yun, there are a lot and may mga may nangyari ng mga next steps na researches na ginagawa dito. From basic research, applied research na po ito. So from what we funded, na-discover na may mga actinobacteria compounds pala galing sa ilalim ng dagat, sa marine sediments. So ngayon, marami ng mga research ang nagagawa na pagpatuloy nitong basic research na ginawa natin para in the near future, meron na tayong mga gamot para doon sa mga sakit na multi-drug resistant or cancer. So that's only one. Another is, we had a research, a funded research sa Mogpog, Marinduque. Ito ay angkop sa aming programang Greening Mined Out Areas in the Philippines, GMAP. So ang ginawa po natin ng ating researcher, nakahanap po siya ng bagong protocol, use of indigenous microbes na naka-enhance ng soil. Kaya ngayon, ang once bare, barren, and brown na mined out areas ay ngayon ay very green na. Tumutubo na yung tanim. And people are happy. And one good thing sa change is the LGU adopted the protocol na galing po sa ating research. So, even after the project was completed, lalong lumago yung kanilang greening, the mined out areas. More than 2 hectares na ngayon ang kanilang natataniman using the protocol po na galing sa ating research.
So salamat Dr. Mayet dun sa mga isinalaysay mo at yung mga halimbawa mong ibinigay ay maganda, no? At bilang mga resulta ng research and development ng NRCP, pwede mo pa sigurong dagdagan yon at kung maaari, banggitin mo na rin kung ano yung mga nakaplano ninyo na research and development na makatutulong naman para ma-attain natin yung ating tinatawag na Sustainable Development Goals by 2030.
Ang atin pong National Integrated Basic Research Agenda or NIBRA, ito po yung guide po natin ng mga priority areas na pinupondohan po natin at ito po ay issue-based silang lahat. Ang una po dito ay ang tinatawag natin sa CLAW, Agenda for Sustainable Communities po. So ito po, nag-aaral tayo ng mga vulnerable ecosystems gaya ng mga lakes, rivers, mined out areas. Ito po ay nag-a-address ng SDG 11, Sustainable Development Goals 11, yung Sustainable Cities and Communities. pati na rin yung SDG 15, Life on Land, at saka SDG 13, Climate Action. Kasi po, kasama dito sa saklaw ay yung risk communication studies po natin. So sa DRR po, disaster risk management and resilience po ang tinitingnan natin. Ang ating focus po sa NRCP ay yung risk communication. Kasi madami po kaming social scientists, marami po kaming nasa governance. And we think that sa ating DOST na agenda on DRR, doon kami mas lalong makakatulong sa risk communication and information. So dito po ang ating priority area sa to be able to come up with risk communication plans. Ang lahat ng LGU sa Pilipinas, parang yun ang nakikita namin. Sana lahat ng LGUs magkaroon ng risk communication plans at tutulungan po sila ng ating mga researchers to do risk plans pre, during, and post-disaster. At iba-iba pong mga disasters, di ba? Flooding, volcano, typhoon, storm surge, and all of those. So napaka-specific po ang gagawin ng mga risk plans. So hopefully in the next couple or 3 years from now, sana po ay lahat po ng LGUs magkaroon ng risk plans para kahit anong disaster, zero mortality po tayo. Matlakas man or ano yung bagyo at yung baha ay because we have the risk plans, we are prepared, the community is prepared, ay zero mortality sana. So yun po ang isang tulong po natin sa NRCP. Mayroon po tayong isang agenda, ang tawag natin ay tubig. Well, from the term, it's about water security. And ito ay angkop na rin sa SDG number 6, clean water and sanitation. Ang focus po ng ating researchers na pinopondohan ay yung availability and accessibility of drinking water. So drinking water po ang focus natin at saka yung concern ng salt intrusion. Kasi we are an archipelago. So ang daming coastal communities. Ang question in 5 years, 10 years, may potable water pa rin ba tayo? Lalo na yung coastal communities. So salt intrusion is one concern na gusto sana natin ma-address. Kaya itong tubig natin na agenda for SDG number 6 on clean water and sanitation. Pangatlo po, mayroon tayong ating agenda. Ito ay inclusive nation building. This one is for SDG number 16 on peace, justice, and strong institutions. And ang aim po natin dito is to strengthen the Filipino identity. We fund studies on culture, heritage, the arts, the creative industry. Kasama po dito ang yung kasi ang dami, as I said, ang dami po nating researchers sa social sciences, sa humanities. So dito po ang kanilang, kumbaga dito sila kumukuha ng pondo sa ating agenda on atin. And then next is we have an agenda on alert. This is on for SDG number 7, affordable and clean energy. Ang ating focus naman, priority area for funding, are alternative energy sources for the GIDA. So specific po tayo for geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. And we also have an agenda on SAPAT. This is on food and nutrition security. So SDG number 2 naman ito, zero hunger. And we focus on contaminants and adulterants in food, as well as new sources of food from flora and fauna. So ito po ang pupondohan natin. And then the 6th agenda is likas. This is for SDG number 3, good health and well-being. Ang focus po natin, ang ating pinopondohan, ay mga areas or researches on natural products development from rare environments. So kanina yung nasabi ko na marine sediments, isa po yun ito dito sa programang ito. Natural products from rare environments like caves, like marine sediments, from volcanic ash, and so on. Ngayon po may pinupondohan tayo from bat guano. May medicine pa dyan na makukuha from bat guano. So ito po, rare environment. And also under dito, SDG number 3 is yung pinopondohan natin yung zoonotic diseases na studies. We have veterinarians in our among the NRCP members. So ito yung mga transmission ng diseases from animals to humans, and this may be new, this may be emerging or re-emerging diseases. So ngayon ang pinopondohan natin yung transmission from macaque to humans, yung long-tailed monkeys. And in fact, it has become a concern especially for tourist areas kasi naging ang mga macaque ay nagiging competitor na ng tao in terms of food, at saka yung mga turista nagiging at risk na rin kasi dahil dito. So this is an ongoing project ngayon. So yun po ang mga examples po ng pinopondohan ng NRCP para maka-address po sa mga SDGs natin. May mga cross-cutting naman ng mga SDGs tayo, no poverty, SDG 1, gender equality, SDG 5, tsaka SDG 10, reduced inequalities, at SDG 17, partnership for goals. So lahat itong mga cross-cutting, tinitingnan natin kung ang proposals meron ganon. Like how gender sensitive, or where is increase in employment or increase in income, so poverty, reduced inequalities, and so on. So yun po ang ating oriented basic research. Pero po, idagdag ko sa for this year, we have 2 new areas na popondohan. First is blue skies research. These are the very pure basic research na maybe walang SDG yon na angkop as of today. Kasi itong mga blue skies research, wala silang agenda na fina-follow. Parang curiosity driven, wala lang. Parang walang application silang iniisip. Many of these are theories. Many of these are they just want to know something that bugs their mind. But these are the very basic research that later on, 10 years, 20 years from now, may be the start of an innovation. So that's it. And the other one is we will strengthen our policy research funding windows, again, because we want to address and help our salons. We advocate evidence-based policymaking the way the Secretary has also been encouraging us, yung evidence-based policymaking. So ito po yung policy research, depende po sa topic, sigurado yon may SDG po na ma-address doon. So yun po ang magiging call po natin, sir, for 2022.
Marami pang magandang R&D projects ang ating aasahan mula po sa National Research Council of the Philippines. Maraming pong salamat, Dr. Marieta Banez Sumagisad. Babalikan po namin kayo maya-maya po laba. Sa puntong ito, si Attorney Marian Ivy D. Decena, ang Director ng DOST Technology Application and Promotion Institute naman, ang magbabahagi sa atin ng iba't ibang R&D projects ng DOST TAPI. Magandang araw po, Attorney Marian.
Magandang araw po, Sec Boy, Onin, at sa aking mga kasamahan ngayong araw, kay Director Mayet, Director Franz, at syempre sa lahat po ng mga nakasubaybay ngayon sa ating programa.
Attorney Marion, alam naman natin at siguro kailangan ipaliwanag natin sa ating taga-subaybay na among the agencies na related sa R&D, kinakaiba ang inyong gawain, ano? At siguro ay i-share mo na lang kung ano yung mga mahalagang challenge or concerns na inyong hinarap nitong nakaraang 5.5 years at talagang sinuportahan ng TAPI.
Yes, Sec Boy. So as we move along in supporting research outputs, we notice that our biggest challenge may be summarized to first, the limitation in funding support, and second, ineffective innovation system. So let me explain first the limited funding support. Ang ating mga private individual inventors are usually not attached or affiliated sa isang RDI or university na kayang sumuporta sa kanilang mga innovations. And so translating their innovations to workable innovations needs credible research that needs funding and collaborative efforts from our established institutions. And this also same goes with our MSMEs. With the limited funding support given to them, that only covers the purchase or the fabrication of production equipment, entrepreneurs struggle to expand production, penetrate more markets, and increase production capacity. Now, in terms of ineffective innovation system naman, our researchers who are connected to a university or RDI cannot successfully cross the R&D phase to commercialization because there is no system or effective system that creates a sustainable enterprise that will look for potential adapters and facilitates licenses. At the same time, inventor entrepreneur lack financial expertise, especially on aspects towards running a business. And so we have developed and expanded our programs and have supported mechanisms to hurdle the challenges of limited funding support and by improving our innovation system. So, some of our newly developed and expanded programs are Technicom to supply the pre-commercialization needs of our innovators. We also have the Marketing Assistance Program to supervise the promotion of technologies to targeted market. And also we have the iTech program to support the commercial production of patented Filipino inventions. Now, gumawa rin po tayo ng concept prototyping program para masuportahan ng mga ideas that would later translate to a science-based innovation. So dahil nakita po natin ang kagandahan ng paghulma ng kanilang idea, kahit idea pa lang, dinagdagan natin ang amount of grant from 250,000 pesos before to 350,000 pesos. Maging ang ating venture financing program na nagbibigay assistance sa ating startups at entrepreneurs ay nadagdagan ang amount of financial assistance sa hanggang 5 milyong piso. At marami pa pong programa ang dapat abangan sa mga susunod na taon sa DOST TAPI. Now, for mechanisms, we have facilitated the fast tracking of the fairness opinion issuance from before 90 days to 10 days only. And nagawa rin natin i-convene ang Fairness Opinion Board in 7 industries para makapag-explore pa ng isang setting idea on negotiation terms that may automatically be considered fair. And lastly, we have been actively participating in the improved operationalization of the Fairness Opinion Board until the ultimate revision of our implementing rules and regulation of the Tech Transfer Act to address the gaps in technology transfer and commercialization.
Director Marion, maaari po ba kayo magbigay ng halimbawa ng mga R&D projects ng DOST TAPI na nakapagbigay po ng positibo at magandang pagbabago sa sektor na inyong sinusuportahan?
Okay, thank you, Sir Onin. We can provide 4 specific examples out of the many that we have already assisted. Una sa lahat, we are able to file a running total of more than 1,000 IP protection, intellectual property protection, including patent cooperation treaty applications in the Intellectual Property Office. In 2020 alone, kahit na pandemic, ay nakapagtala tayo ng around 451 IP applications. So para sa kaalaman ng lahat, IP protection is the crucial first step in making change happen dahil kung wala nito, hindi makukuha ng isang researcher ang full benefit ng kanyang innovation at maaaring mawalan ng kabuluhan ng kanilang research and development. Pangalawa, nakapagbigay tayo ng ilang milyong piso para sa pagbuo ng isang initial prototype ng RTAP mula sa ating iBid program at nasundan naman ito ng pagbuo ng isang commercial prototype at market testing sa tulong naman ng Technicom. Ang RTAP ay isang intelligent supply and pressure management system para mabawasan ang water loss at power consumption at madagdagan naman ang tubig na napupunta sa ating mga consumers. We have made change happen through R&D by reducing water wastage and ensuring that water reaches the homes of every Filipino. Pangatlo ay ang pag-abot natin ng tulong pinansyal kay inventor Rodrigo Duque upang magkaroon ng market testing ng kanyang ozone-powered water purifying system to make potable water from fresh water sources. Si Engineer Duque became the first prize winner for our outstanding utility model noong 2018 National Invention Contest and Exhibits or NICE. So sa pamamagitan ng Travel Assistance Program for Inventors ng DOST TAPI, Engineer Duque was able to participate and bring home a bronze medal for his in the 47th International Exhibition of Invention in Geneva, Switzerland, last April 2019. And this was attended by around 800 exhibitors from 40 countries and around 30,000 visitors. So our support to R&D really made change happen to fulfill the SDG 6 and ensure the availability and sustainability of management of water and sanitation for all. Pang-apat, nabigyan din natin ng the Manila Health Tech ng tulong pinansyal para sa third-party consumer testing sa mga ospital mula sa ating technicum program at siya ring nasundan at nabigyan ng tulong pinansyal para sa mechanization ng kanilang mga equipment mula sa ating venture financing program. So the Manila Health Tech ay ang developer ng Biotech M, Dengue Aqua Kit, na isang highly efficient confirmatory test for diagnosis of dengue and infection at Biotech M Trio Kit that detects schistosomiasis, leptospirosis, and salmonella. So most recently, nabigyan natin ng opportunity ang the Manila Health Tech para sa kanilang application ng international certification upang mapasok at mag-operationalize sa ibang bansa. So now, this company has made a name for itself as the first local FDA certified R&D facility for manufacturing diagnostic tests and is on its way to expanding in the Southeast Asian market. So with our support, the Manila Health Tech has gained the capability and the self-sufficiency as the first spin-off company of the University of the Philippines, Manila in the public health sector. So making change happens means making the first step in ensuring that innovative ideas are given the proper support so they could materialize into something useful for the society.
Salamat, Director Decena. At bago ko hilingin sa iyo yung mga plano ninyo in support of attaining SDGs by 2030, siguro bigyan mo ng konting elaboration yung ginagawa ninyo regarding technology transfer, lalo na yung inyong fairness opinion process, at saka kung paano nyo i-identify ang mga susunod pang mga proyekto katulad ng mga binanggit mo, yung tatlong example na binanggit mo. Ngayon pa lang ba nag-ano na kayo, nag-prospect na kayo ng inyong susuportahan?
Yes, Sec Boy. So una muna siguro kinakailangan kong i-explain muna yung Fairness Opinion Board process. Isa ito sa provision ng ating tech transfer law under Rule 11, in which we are all required that when there is direct negotiation for the licensing or transfer of a technology that is funded by the government, then that the proposed or the parties involved needs to secure the consent, or rather secure a fairness opinion report from the Fairness Opinion Board, and likewise a written recommendation from the Secretary himself. So ito po isang proseso na pinagdaraanan para bago po may transfer ang technology sa potential adapter. Noon pong mga simula ng 2015, ang TAPI po ay siyang naatasan na maging Secretariat ng Fairness Opinion Board. And during those times, tayo po ay nag-craft ng maraming policy para po ma-implement at ma-fast track po yung proseso ng pagkuha o pag-secure ng Fairness Opinion Report na dati nga po ay umaabot ng 90 days at ito po ay ating napa-streamline into a period of 10 days. And right now, at this point, it's already the regional offices who are now, we devolve the function to the regional offices and who is now considered the Secretariat to the Fairness Opinion Board. So ang TAPI na po ngayon, siyang nag-a-assist po kay Secretary Boy para naman po sa issuean ng ating written recommendation. So ayan po ay yung proseso na unique po under sa tech transfer law. Now as for dun sa mga projects na ating pinipili or para maponduhan for this year and for the succeeding years, yes, Boy, we are already crafting certain guidelines para po masuri ang mga proposal po na papasok ngayong taon. At nang ito ay ating maponduhan at nang magtuloy-tuloy po itong mga technology maitawid to commercialization.
Sige, maybe very quickly lang, meron ba kayong particular na programs na iniisip in support of the SDGs o yan ay sa pamamagitan ng pagpili ng mga projects na susuportahan?
Yes, Sec Boy. So we are only starting and there's a lot more. So mula sa aming vision na maging strategic partner and advocate ng invention and innovation sa bansa, we also plan to become a premier hub for the promotion of technology transfer and commercialization. And we have geared our path to success by 2030 and beyond. So una po ang plano namin with the internationalization of IT application. We want to support IT portfolio management with 100% real-time updates published on our in-house management system. We have already filed so many local applications before, and it's about time that we move towards in the international arena in the filing of protection for our intellectual properties. Pangalawa po, mula sa pagpupondo ng spin-off at startups for local or international market, we build up our in-house experts, facilitate technology deals, and monitor the amount of upfront fees or royalties. So similar with the filing of protection internationally, we also want to expand our market internationally. And pangatlo, we would like to look forward to establishing regional and foreign hubs para po sa ating IT, invent school, and pre-commercialization programs. And pang-apat po, yun nga po, na-mention ko na rin yung pasukin ng international market para sa ating DOST-generated or funded technologies. We also would like to complement ang ating plano na maging venture capitalist or business stakeholder at partner institution na magpupondo sa commercialization activities ng DOST technologies. And sa huli po, we envision programs on capital or income sharing as a possible investment activity while establishing sustainable technology-based enterprises. So ito po yung mga hakbangin ng DOST TAPI para sa isang self-sustaining institute na patuloy magbigay ng unique, innovative at practical solution bilang investment partner in support of SDG 17 of Partnership for the Goals as we continue to make change happen towards progress. So P, to protect the IPs, R, resolve the issues, O, oversee the innovation system, G, growth with stakeholders, R, reinvent the programs, and E, enter the market, and lastly, S, to support the success.
Maraming salamat po, Attorney Marian Decena. Babalikan po namin kayo maya-maya po lamang. Sa ngayon, makakasama naman natin si Dr. Franz A. De Leon, ang Director ng DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute. Magandang araw po, Dr. Franz.
Magandang araw sa iyo, Onin. Magandang araw, Secboy, and sa mga kasama ko po, Director Mayet, Director Marian, and sa lahat po ng sumusubaybay sa ating po programa.
Salamat, Dr. Franz, sa pagdalo mo ngayon. At alam naman natin na ang Advanced Science and Technology Institute, ang mga major areas na sinusuportahan ay ang information, communications technology, electronics, at ngayon ay pumupunta na rin tayo sa artificial intelligence. Of course, bago itinayo ang Philippine Space Agency, ang Advanced Science and Technology Institute, ang naging pasimuno dito, at nakita naman natin ang mga malalaking na-achieve ng ASTI in this area. So siguro pwede mo bigyan kami ng summary ng mga major challenges or opportunities na inyong pinasok o pinaharap nung nagdaang 5.5 years at kung ano ang inyong nagawa tungkol dito.
Salamat po, Secboy. So hahatiin ko po yung sagot ko, depende po sa sektor na sinusuporta ng ASTI. So unahin ko na po yung government sector including its agencies. So sabi nga po, data is the new oil, especially po in support for, let's say, disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. So dati po, malaki po yung reliance ng government agencies sa mga, let's say, satellite images na binibili pa natin sa ibang bansa. At kapag binili po natin sila sa ibang bansa, hindi rin naman ganun kabilis at hindi rin naman, kumbaga, processed kung ano man yung binibigay po nila sa atin. So kapag may nangyari pong sakuna, mas matagal po yung pagresponde at pag-assess, let's say, ng mga damage kapag, let's say, may duman po na malakas na bagyo. Pangalawa po, may kakulangan rin po tayo in terms of data regarding our environment. Since wala naman po tayong mga hardware or sensors nakadeploy sa buong bansa dati. So yung pong combination na iyon, yung malaking challenge talaga is yung lack of data for faster response for government agencies. Yung pangalawa naman po is with respect to the electronics industry. Now, alam naman po natin, the electronics industry is one of the major drivers of the Philippine economy. 5 years ago, malaki po yung demand or clamor from the private industry na sana magkaroon po ng isang center sa Pilipinas kung saan kapag may dinedevelop po na electronic product, yung usual tests na kailangan pagdaanan ng isang produkto, magawa na lamang sa Pilipinas at hindi na kailangan pumunta sa ibang bansa. Kasi nagpapatagal pa iyon ng development process and at the same time, yung in terms of cost, mas nagiging malaki rin. So, malaki po yung pangangailangan ng electronics industry na sana merong isang center sa Pilipinas na sana mas mabilis makakapag-prototype ng mga electronic products. And finally po, with respect to the academic and research community, malakas po yung demand for connectivity and yung pag-access po sa high-performance computers. And normally, malaki po yung investment na kailangan para magkaroon po dito ang isang academic institution. So high-performance servers, high-performance internet connection. So limitado lang po yung mga universidad at yung research community na kayang makagawa ng research na nangangailangan ng mas mataas na resources. So yun po yung mga challenges ng iba't ibang sectors, lack of data for the government, lack of a center for the electronics industry, and lack of kumbaga computing power for the academe.
Dr. Franz, paano po ninyo nabibigyan ng solusyon ang mga suliraning ito, yung paano nakapaghatid ng magandang pagbabago ang DOST-ASTI sa pamamagitan po ng research and development programs?
Salamat, Oli. So balikan ko lang din yung mga challenges na nabanggit ko kanina. At actually nabanggit na rin naman ni Secboy. So for example, for the government agencies, of course malaki po ang investment, and of course nagpapasalamat tayo ng malaki sa malaking suporta ng DOST para sa space technology programs. So marami pong nakinabang dito, and specifically for ASTI, nagkaroon po tayo ng Philippine Earth Data Resource Observation Center, Pedro Center, which serves as the ground station. So nasa ASTI po meron tayong malaking antena. So doon po tayo nagre-receive ng images natin. Now, in support of this, we have the Remote Sensing and Data Science Help Desk or DOST na siya naman nagproproseso ng mga satellite images na nakukuha mula kay Pedro. At dahil dito, ang Pilipinas nagkaroon ng capability to process those images for disaster management, crop mapping, land cover classification, census for agriculture, observation for national security. Na nung isang dekada, parang hindi natin sila nagagawa. Pero ngayon po, we have come a long way para magkaroon po tayo ng ganong capabilities. So halimbawa po, ngayong dumaan po si Typhoon Odette, yung Pedro and Datos teams, nagbibigay po sila ng flood impact maps to the concerned agencies like yung OCD, different LGUs and DOST regional offices. So mas mabilis po yung assessment ngayon pag may dumadaan na let's say malakas na bagyo. So similarly po, dahil sa support ng DOST, nagkaroon tayo ng Project NOAA wherein nakapag-develop naman po ng sensors ang ASTI. We developed and deployed more than 2,000 sensors around the country, including automatic rain gauges, water level stations, tsunami warning systems. And sa heart dito mga systems na ito, yung ating Advanced Remote Data Acquisition Unit. So up until now, napakalakas po ng demand para sa ganitong klaseng sistema, especially na yung mga LGUs gusto po nilang maging smart cities, gusto nilang mas maging attuned sa environment, gusto nilang mas maging prepared sa kung ano man yung mangyayari sa kanila sa hinaharap. Now, of course, with respect to the electronics industry, na-establish po yung Electronics Product Development Center, which serve as a testing and fast fabrication facility. So over the years, for example, last year nakapag-develop po ng breath simulator as an R&D demonstration. And even with the pandemic, let's say for 2021, malakas pa rin po yung activities ng electronics industry with respect to the EPDC. In fact, they were able to generate more than 4 million in terms of revenues, which is the highest so far sa history ng EPDC, which is a good sign. So ibig sabihin, malaki yung nagiging contribution ng EPDC para makabangon din yung electronics industry. And of course, pag nakabangon ng electronics industry, nakakapag-contribute more sa economy. And finally, with respect to the academe, na-democratize, ibig sabihin, mas maraming estudyante, mas maraming researchers ang nagkaroon ng access to high-performance computer. So sa ASTI, we host the Computing and Archiving Research Environment or CORE. So hindi na exclusive yung high-performance computing sa malalaking corporations. Rather, every academic institution and research institution pwede pong gumamit ng CORE ng libre. So in fact, last year, more than 500 yung active users po natin sa high performance computer. Lahat po sila gumagamit ng halos libre at lahat po sila nagko-contribute for R&D. Yun lang ano.
Director Franz, ang huli kong tanong ay tungkol sa plano to support the SDGs, ano? Pero pwede mo rin banggitin yung mga naririnig ko ng mga plano ninyo. Halimbawa, paano kayo tutulong sa napipinto nating sistema ng pagde-deliver ng pag-aaral hanggang ngayon ay nasa remote learning system pa tayo, samantalang ibang lugar sa Pilipinas ay wala namang connectivity, hirap na hirap. Pangalawa ay lahat tayo ay kinukumbinsi na or talagang ina-urge na tayo na mag-proceed towards more of digitalization in our services. Ano ang maitutulong ng ASTI dyan? Halimbawa, at in the area of artificial intelligence, alam ko naman kayo ay kayo ang pinakamahusay dyan compared sa iba pang ahensya dahil linya nyo yan. Siguro pwede mong i-share yan in connection with our initiatives towards sustainability and inclusiveness.
Yes po, Sec Boy. So tama po kayo sa new normal or sa now normal. Kasama na po sa basic necessity ang connectivity. Dati food, water, shelter, ano po. Pero ngayon even internet connection kasama na po siya. And kakabit po ng internet connection yung pag-deliver po ng education. So naitanong niyo po siya. So right now, meron po tayong project wherein we will try to utilize yung mga hindi ginagamit na bands ng frequency like unused TV frequencies para i-deliver yung materials natin for education. Ang issue po kasi is that we have to recognize na hindi po lahat, marami pong lugar sa Pilipinas na walang access sa internet simply because yung infrastructure po ay hindi po nailalatag ng malalaking korporasyon. Opo. So yung problema na ito, yung kakulangan ng internet access, yung tinatry i-bridge ng ASTI by providing the community access and power for the community themselves to run a community network. Ibig sabihin, may mga technology po tayo na tina-transfer sa kanila such that yung mismong community na po ang magpapatakbo ng internet. And kapag nabuhay na po yung internet connectivity through the unused TV station, frequencies, and other frequency bands, yung daloy po ng education, kung dati mano-mano, ngayon po may modules po tayo, ngayon po ibabato na natin over the air, over the internet, and also using yung return channel, using yung cellphones po nila. So yun po yung isang malaking gap na tinatry po natin i-address through our current project. So malapit na po siyang matapos and hopefully maipakita na natin siya sa publiko. Ano po. Yung iba nating projects po sa ASTI which contributes for the SDG. Of course, hindi naman po tayo tumitigil sa pag-develop ng technologies for space. Even though nandiyan na po si PhilSA, the Philippine Space Agencies, in close coordination with them, plano pa rin po ng ASTI na mag-develop ng technologies for satellite connectivity. So kapag may satellite connectivity, hindi na po issue yung geographic kasi po yung internet natin through space. So mas malaki po yung coverage area and pag na-solve po natin siya, napakalaking tulong po noon para sa buong bansa. Maliban pa dito, patuloy rin po nating pinalalakas po naman yung current infrastructure po natin, like yung EPDC, and of course yung core natin. Secboy, dagdag ko na rin, quantum computing, naaprubahan nyo na po, so papasukin na rin po natin siya. So one of the more advanced computing facilities that would really accelerate developing solutions to complex problems. In terms of artificial intelligence, ginagamit na po natin siya sa pagproseso ng mga satellite images, yung pag-label po, pag-identify kung alin ang mga nasira, alin ang puno, kung maayos pa ba yung mga daan, lahat po yun ginagamitan ng artificial intelligence. And sa next phase po, yung artificial intelligence, dadalhin din po natin for the creative industry.
Muli po, maraming salamat, Dr. De Leon. Maraming salamat po sa pagbabahagi niyo sa amin. How R&D make change happen. Sekboy, baka may manais pa kayo mabatid sa ating mga taga-subaybay.
Papasalamat ako kay Dr. Mayed Sumagaysay, kay Attorney Marion Dicena at kay Dr. Franz De Leon sa kanilang pagbibigay ng oras para ipaliwanag itong mga kasagutan sa aking mga tanong. At itong unang group na ito actually nagre-represent sa iba't ibang klase ng ahensya ng DOST. Ang NRCP ay in charge sa research pero sila ay collegial body, ang kanilang kumikilos sa paggawa ng research nila ay ang kanilang mga miyembrong researchers, Ang of course, ang Advanced Science and Technology Institute ay isa sa aming mga research and development institutes, 7 sila at may kanya-kanya silang sektor na hinahawakan. At ang TAPI ang medyo kakaiba kasi actually hindi naman sila nagsasagawa talaga ng R&D. Ang kanilang misyon ay kung paano magagamit ang mga resulta ng R&D, kung paano pakikinabangan ng ating mga kababayan, kung paano pagkakaperahan din kasi kailangan din nating mag-earn at mag-accumulate ng wealth bilang isang bansa, At nakita natin ang mga halimbawa ng gusto nilang gawin sa mga susunod na araw at kita naman natin ito ay lahat ay may kinalaman sa pagbabago sa tulong ng agham at teknolohiya na makatutulong sa ating mga kababayan. So siguro ang babanggitin ko na lang halimbawa doon sa NRCP ay yung binanggit ni Dr. Mayet na proyekto o programa nilang pinamagatang tubig, At yan ay nakapokus kung paano madadala ang tubig na kailangan dun sa mga geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. At ganun din ang halimbawa ni Dr. Franz kasi yung connectivity problema din doon sa mga GIDA areas na yan. Alam naman natin ang nature ng ating bansa, archipelagic at napakaraming isla, At even within the big islands ay napakaraming lugar na hindi pa na rin masyadong madaling puntahan. Kaya yung kanilang iniisip tungkol sa connectivity, using TV frequencies or using satellite connectivity ay napakaganda. At butit binanggit ni Dr. Franz yung tungkol sa kanilang quantum research facility na ito ay tungkol sa quantum computing. At sa TAPI, ako ay na-excite dahil ang kanilang plano ay may kinalaman na sa internationalization. At kailangan na natin yan kasi yung ating mga intellectual properties hindi lang natin dapat protektahan dito sa Pilipinas. Pati sa ibang bansa kasi ay nasa global economy na tayo at kailangan nila ng protection at malaki din ang pwede nilang mga opportunity sa global market. So maraming salamat sa inyo. At sa ating mga taga-subaybay, sa susunod na linggo, another group ng ating mga research and development people or leaders ang ating maririnig at makakapanayam. Salamat ulit.
Maraming salamat po, Sekboy, sa amin pong pagbabalik. Sasagutin ni Sekboy at ng ating mga panauhin ang tanong ng bayan, kaya wag po kayo alis, magbabalik pa ang DOST Report. Media questions are in. It's time for Itanong Mo kay Sikboy. Para sa unang katanungan, mula po kay Charissa Lucy ng Manila Bulletin for NRCP. What are the other priority areas you are considering or planning to address this year or the coming years?
Salamat sa tanong. Gaya ng na-mention ni Secretary kanina, patuloy kasi ang pandemic, so patuloy ang pag-istudyo natin ng mga social dimensions ng pandemic. Ito ay nasa aming programa, K-Top COVID, Kapakanan ng Tao sa Oras ng Pandemya. Dito ay napag-aaralan yung mga, for example, perceptions, yung mga policies related sa pandemic, yung mga business models, yung mga kung ano-ano pa na nakakatulong sa yung protection po ng ating mga tao. So yun po ay isa sa ipagpapatuloy natin na programa ngayong taon at saka sa susunod pa na taon. The other one ay yung nabanggit ko kanina, yung GMAP po, yung Greening Mind Out Areas in the Philippines, patuloy po na ginagawa natin, patuloy yung pagtuklas ng mga indigenous microorganisms na makakatulong, maka-enhance po ng mga mind out areas para tumubo po yung tanim. At ang community naman ay makinabang doon sa kanilang kung saan sila nakatira. Another one po yung sa GIDA po natin, alternative energy sources po, at saka patuloy kaming nag-i-encourage ng aming mga researchers kasi kulang po ang aming mga proposals na natatanggap dito po sa alternative energy sources for geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. Sana po sa susunod na call for proposals natin ngayong Marso ay magkaroon po tayo ng makareceive po tayo ng mga proposals. At yung salt intrusion, napaka-concern po natin yan kasi nga with the climate change at saka sa lahat ng pagbabago sa ating environment, napakahalaga po, nandoon po yung concern. So patuloy po yon na gagawin natin, and then yung indigenous knowledge, we have to preserve po our Filipino culture and heritage. So patuloy din po yung mga pag-aaral natin doon, especially po anong kanyang may tutulong sa creative industries. Ngayon ay pinopondohan po natin at ipagpapatuloy this year and next year yung Musika Pilipinas. Ito ay titingnan yung scope and size ng creative industry natin. Ito po ay support po din natin sa mga adhikain, advokasya ni Congressman Tof de Venecia, yung creative industry. So ito po ay isa po sa mga examples ng mga policy research na ginagawa po natin in support of policy making po.
Mula po kay Divine Reyes ng Unlad News Weekly Calabarzon. Para naman sa ASTI, may mga aktibidad o proyekto po ba kayong angkop sa pagtulong sa pamahalaan at mamamayang Filipino para buong tapang nakaharap ng tumataas na namang bilang ng mga nagkaka-COVID?
Sa pamamagitan po ng CORE, siya po yung nag-host ng DOH program on Faster. So sa pamamagitan po nito, mabilis pong namomodel ng DOH kung paano po yung paglaganap ng COVID. So kumbaga para siyang virtual simulation ng kung ano yung possibility if we try to, based on the input data, na kung ano yung available sa atin, and changing the variables. So mabilis po nila makikita yung trends pagdating po sa COVID. At the same time, again, through the use of satellite technology, nakikita po natin yung aktibidad and epekto sa environment ng COVID. So makikita natin kung in terms of epekto sa pollution, in terms of mobility of people, lahat po yun na obserbahan po natin through a time series analysis of the satellite images that we have.
Mula po ito kay Noli Liwanag ng Global News Pilipinas. Dahil po sa COVID-19 pandemic, ano-ano po ang mga programa ninyo para sa taong 2022 na angkop sa inyong ahensya para sa bawat Pilipino, especially po sa MSMEs?
Yes, Sir Onin, salamat sa katanungan. Actually, ang TABI po ay nag-implement ng various program po that relates to technology transfer and commercialization. Isa po sa programa namin na particular po for COVID or this pandemic that we are actually suffering at the moment is yung aming natawag na Ligtas COVID program under the Venture Financing Program. So dito po sa programang ito ay binibigyan namin ng tulong ng pinansyal ang mga SMEs or MSMEs para sa pag-develop, manufacture ng mga produkto, ng mga kakailanganin natin ngayong panahon ng pandemya. So yun po ay isa sa mga tulong na kung saan ang ating mga entrepreneur ay malayang makakapag-acquire po ng kanilang mga raw materials gamit po yung financial assistance with a repayment period na medyo very relaxed compared dun sa mga regular venture financing program.
Mga kapatid, salamat po muli sa inyong pagsubaybay. Mas marami pang balita mula sa mundo ng agam at teknolohiya ang ating pag-uusapan. Kaya tutok lamang kitong Biyernes, alas 4 ng hapon dito sa DOST TV Facebook page at YouTube channel. Ako po si Oning Miranda. Ito ang mga balitang may kinalaman sa agam, teknolohiya at inovasyon. Hatid ang pagbabago para sa maunlad na mundo. Ito ang DOST Report.